Hello and welcome to Sofa Broker. This is part 2 of our series. And this is a podcast that is hosted by myself, Solly Strickland, and Daniel McPeake. Hello, Daniel. How are you today?
Welcome. I'm all right, you?
Yeah, I'm a bit croaky, actually.
Felt your leg.
Felt my leg, that's fine. But my voice, legs and podcasts is sort of, that's okay.
It's okay that you broke your leg, because you broke your leg because of a motorbike crash. So that makes you a bit cool.
Sorry, is this going to be, hello, motorcycle manufacturers out there? My name's Daniel McPeake. I might have been on a TV show, and I quite like motorcycles.
I would love to do that as much as you would love to talk about, music and stuff.
I probably will talk about music more than property.
So, all right, Solly.
Yeah.
Look, good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Good to see everyone. So we're here to talk about our life as real estate brokers, estate agents. What do we call them nowadays?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't take a salary, so I don't consider myself an estate agent. But we touched on that a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Okay. So
I think we're going to riff a little bit about life, maybe as a broker, maybe a few. And I think it'd be very easy for us to sit here and go, oh, well, you must listen to us because we've done this, that, and the other. But actually, I think there's a lot of stuff that we've done over the last sort of 15, 20 years that's actually quite fun, maybe sort of anecdotal. That maybe it's sort of under the bonnet of agency, like crazy stuff. I mean, you mentioned to me on the way in, and are we naming names today? I'm not sure if we're naming names.
As long as it's no one that can arrest us.
Would you think JM from
Able? No, I don't. Yeah. So that's
I just love that story. I think it's for people who think it's all about just getting a client, getting sort of property sold or let or whatever, and then moving on to the next one. And actually, on a serious note, that is more agency against being a broker, because being a broker, it's all about client retention, and probably being a broker and having client retention over a career enables you to have a little bit of a giggle about one of your clients and their idiosyncrasies, maybe.
Let's delve into a bit of what's gone on. And you are right. This is not a podcast or a thing where me and you are talking about everything else that you've seen or think you should see on things like LinkedIn, where this is how to be an estate agent and this is how to do this and this is how to do that, because all that, quite frankly, is bollocks.
Calling all estate agents.
Well, it's all bollocks. It doesn't work. Anyone can be an estate agent. And the fact is that people want to tell you that you can't start or you can't do this just means that there's no one left to be an estate agent, because everyone that's already being one has took up that space. So it's a lie. This is a world that's open for everybody, and real estate is definitely a place where everyone can find a home.
Do you know what? You have great timing, because we've been, and ongoing, we'll be dealing with the PR around a particular sale that we've been involved with. But
oh my God,
talk about timing in terms of anyone can do this. And if you have sort of been on LinkedIn recently or Instagram following up, the brands, either ourselves or the brands we represent, you'll know that there's been a bit of a story around a lady that we brought into Nessicas and a certain castle. And I think, and we're not here to talk about that right now. That's something maybe for another day. But Lindsay,
well, actually, I think that.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I think
we should actually, because it's right now. It's within the last 24 hours.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about people and things that have done things that you've done and I've done and other people around us have done.
Well, it does segue. It does segue, because you've just mentioned that really anyone can do this, and that's not disrespectful to Lindsay. It just means that you can come from a situation where you're not real estate savvy, or you've ever walked into an estate agency before in your life, or even rented a property, whatever it might be. You can, take on board some of the things that we talk about, and we're never going to say we're the greatest mentors or the greatest trainers or all that kind of stuff. We just pretty passionate, I think, is the thing we offer. But one of the, I was talking to Lindsay about this yesterday. And
Lindsay's the broker.
Lindsay's the broker from Nessicas, who came to, and the reason I want you to start the story, because the story starts with you. But we were talking about, what an incredible story it is. And I was talking to quite a few people yesterday about, not just Lindsay, because obviously it was very exciting and emotional, but just a few people within the industry and within Nessicas about how it all started, and that her story from, I think, you picking up the phone to her, talking to her, and then I think you put the phone down and said, you must talk to this this lady up north. There's something about her. I'm not sure what it is, but I think we should try. And I think you should pick it up from here, because you made that first sort of touch point with her, and then we'll riff on how we got her to the point where yesterday she sold a castle.
I mean, what a journey, right? So, to fill everybody in, Lindsay is now a broker for us who is doing very, very well. But it didn't start like that. Like everything that we get involved in, Solly says we're passionate, and we are, but our main passion lies with people. Okay, it's not real estate. Yep. We're passionate about people. We're passionate about wanting everybody to have a chance. Our greatest fears are when things go wrong. When you watch Crazy Rich Agents and you see someone want to back out of that show, I got really upset about it. That's as personal as I can get. And Solly's...
It's an investment in people from you.
It's an investment. So Lindsay came along with a knock on the door, literally. So it was lockdown. We all can't do anything. I'm getting phone calls from people that want to join us. We're kind of not taking everyone on. We're a little bit worried about who we can take on and who we can't, because
pre-academy, of course.
Yeah, because the amount of effort we can put in, because we didn't want to set anyone up to fail.
Yeah.
So Lindsay comes along. I'm on the phone to her. First thing she does, she tells me she's from Durham. I'm like, okay.
Did you know where Durham was?
No. So I find out it's quite a long way away, and we're having a chat, and Lindsay had zero experience. And, I chatted to her, and there was just something she was talking about, just the way she was talking passionately about people and how she gets to people and how she gets people was the thing that was making me listen more.
Yeah.
Making me, I was sort of like, this is interesting, and something deep inside of me started to stir. And this started to stir and started to begin and started to then turn into something. I was listening to Lindsay as she was speaking, and I started to think to myself, could I, with Solly, could we, through Zoom, take someone from... This was the now academy. So from what would be the academy, online, speak to them, help them, coach them. Could we take them into a journey where they don't know what they're doing? They're going to find out how to prospect. We're taking through a prospecting journey. They're going to find out about how to take an appointment on. We're going to do that. We're taking through that. They're going to list this appointment. We're going to do that. They're going to take them through, what do I do to market it? How do I market it correctly? How do I open it up to an audience that want to see it and buy it? How do I find that buyer? How do I walk them through the journey of becoming that buyer and turning that buyer into someone that wants it and makes an investment in, I'm going to buy that property? How do we do that with someone we've never seen, and we've got no experience in dealing with before? And being a little bit crazy, I thought we could do this, and I thought, right, okay, let's have a conversation about her. And Solly, it was like, we could do this, right? You was pretty enthusiastic, and
I remember it vaguely, and I remember obviously the story sort of, it gets better and better, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I remember you, and Lindsay won't mind me saying this, I remember you ringing me up and you said, I've spoken to this lady called Lindsay. She's in a part of the world I don't really know about. The conversation was really incredible. And, she was telling us she had 3 or 4 kids at the time.
Yeah.
And her husband at work all day, or, working very hard, or whatever he could do during the pandemic. And, I think she said she'd seen, I think one of the things you said, she'd seen $1 million something or rather on her sort of 15-year-old laptop. So, not a huge amount of money flying around.
Yeah.
But she just, something inside her made her get in touch, and something inside her made her realise that made her think this is something she can do. And I remember it wasn't such a sort of, it wasn't a dreamy kind of thing. There's a sort of steeliness there as well. Because I spoke to her afterwards, and then we had we came back together and thought, and then you came up with this whole sofa to broker thing, which of course is now legendary.
Yeah.
And obviously became the Academy. But it was that sort of, we can do this. There was that twinkle in your eye kind of thing.
There definitely was a twinkling, and you're right. And the good thing about this as well, as a side note as well, she had young babies running around, right? So this shows that anybody that puts the energy into this and putting the energy in the correct way can make this work. So she did it, and then we went through some stuff with her, and we started to talk about touting and what to do. And then I got a phone call from Lindsay one day, hysterically phones me up. Dan, I don't know what to do. In between tears, she was crying. She was, I'm going to see a castle. And I was like, whoa, out of everything you could say, it's not a 2-bed flat. It's not it's a castle.
Yeah.
And it was a dreamy castle. It featured
Become very famous.
Yeah, it's a famous castle now. So she was going to see it, and I was like, okay, so speak to Solly about it, and we decide, right, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure she's prepared, and we're going to give her everything that she needs to be able to...
Tell them about the car.
Yeah, we'll do everything she needs to be able to turn up. So we hired her a little A-class, and she turns up in the car, and before she gets there, I say to her, look, 5 minutes outside the castle, just stop and call me. And, she does that, and she pulls the car over and she calls me. And I said, look, you're about to do something that me, Daniel, and you, Lindsay, have never done before, because we're about to find out if this can work. And I remember Solly in the background with loads of pointers, and it was very important between the two of us that the direction was just set to her in one place. And I said, look, you're going to do this. And we told them what was going to happen. And she went off, and she got in the car, drove around the corner, and got to the castle. So from my point, at that point, I know the castle's happening. I don't know what is going on. Sorry, right? I can't. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, what is going on with this castle?
Just backtracking a little bit. So the time scale around them was a bit weird, wasn't it? It was a funny time of life. Can you remember how many weeks or months or whatever we were from the moment Lindsay made that call, on the first phone call you had, to her actually driving up to the castle?
6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was within 6 weeks.
I always thought it was a month or two.
Yeah, because we had spoken to her about touting.
Yeah.
About how to direct touting in the right direction. Yeah. How to bespoke touting letters. Yeah. And it was that worked. Yeah. So we had took her through that, and she got there, and then she ended up And
then in the castle, then it's about marketing and then fees, which of course is really one of the great parts of this story.
Well, I'm gonna let you talk about that, because you do that so well, and you did the work with her so well around that. But we're at the point, she's in the castle. Me and Solly at this point don't know what's gone on, apart from she's in there. Okay, and now the only advice I gave her at that point, and I would share with you guys here, was just be a person. Okay, don't be afraid of money. Just get in your groove first. Don't run in there and blurt out what's going on, or what you can do, or what the state of the real estate market is like. Don't do that at all. In fact, you do it really well. What is one of the things we do on the Academy? We tell people not to talk about the first time they meet someone.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, we just don't talk about real estate. And this has come up a lot in the last few days and weeks, actually, as I'm talking to loads of people that are coming to us wanting to join. And one of the things I say to people is this business is 80% you, 80% people, and 20% knowledge and branding and whatever it is. It's who you are. You're slightly different from me because you have probably got a few more elements to your business acumen than I do. But I don't think it would be completely wrong of me to say that the only real attribute I have in real estate, and it must be a good one because I'm still doing it 25 years later, is that I'm really damn good at talking to people, and I'm really good at talking to people in their own homes, and that is, I think, is a skill, or it's something that you're born with, or whatever it might be. Maybe I should have been in the diplomatic corps. I don't know, but if you see something in a castle, there's probably a lot that's going to titillate the eye. There's going to be a lot of conversational pieces, and there's probably a lot for her eyes to sort of dilate and go, wow, that's incredible, and be genuinely enthused by the property, which of course anyone who owns a property and a professional comes in and looks at it, if they are enthused, they're warming to them. So I'm pretty sure Lindsay would have done what we would have said, talk about anything other than property prices, property contracts, property fees, property whatever it might be, how good you are, how bad the competition is, and all that kind of rubbish that everyone else does. She would have done that for a heck of a long time inside a massive castle.
What you're saying is so vital, okay? Because this is the difference between what you'll learn here on this podcast and what we do in the academy and what we do, and what now people that have done what we did are doing. Is you've got to get comfortable with the people. You've got to understand that the first job you have is to be likable and to get on, not in a cheesy way. And this is the thing where what breaks it for a lot of people. They can't understand it, or it just gets too rigid. You've got to get on with people. I am not the best estate agent in the world by a long run.
Neither of us are.
No, that's the thing. It is about, can we speak to people? Do we speak to people well? And then do we have enough knowledge when they're pressed that we can back that up with a reason that we can move it into a sale? So she was there, wasn't she? She's talking about anything apart from what she...
she's talking about
real estate.
Suits of armour.
Yeah. So she's in a castle not talking about property. And, she had a guy that...
Very quickly, I'm going to have to say this, because I think we talk about, belonging, that sense of belonging, that, you deserve to be in someone's property. You should be thinking of yourself as being on the level as the client, and not there being a hierarchy between client and agent. I'm firm believer in that. If someone's belittling me, I walk out the door.
Yeah.
And I think what you did was so genius, is when she did ring up and panic about her car and having a really shit car to drive down to this £3 million castle's front gate with.
Yeah.
The fact that you got on the phone like that and immediately an A-class was on her way to her, I think that was a massive part of her getting the castle. I think that's just that one thing you did.
It's that ability to empower people by empowering their own self-belief. So they all have their own self-belief going on, but really people struggle to deal with it because they can't believe it themselves. If you can switch it so it comes from within and that grows outwardly, that's a superpower.
Well, Lindsay would have had imposter syndrome going into that. She'd never been in real estate before, and she's going to a £3 million property. You're going to walk in, and you're not going to. Something inside you is going to feel like a sense of not worthy of being there. But I think the car made a difference. No doubt the pep talks made a difference. The brand makes a difference, of course.
She was ready.
Yeah.
As weird as it seems, she had gone from not doing any real estate to being a castle. So she'd been in there. She had got it. And she got the instruction. Now, just quickly, just for the granular bit, when you sell a property, you get a fee. Okay, your fee is a percentage of what you charge.
Yes.
Typically in the UK, we've said this before, it's 1 to 1.5%. We try to empower people enough that there's value in what they do, and we tell them to draw that value out to the buyer and have it explained to them. What did Lindsay manage to get percent-wise?
Lindsay got 3%. Sorry, it's hard not to sort of giggle when you say that. It's not that I'm giggling because it's not deserved. It's 100% deserved. Look, she's sold one of the hardest properties to sell in the UK. She's done it. Deserved, right? Her job is to sell. It's none of all the other stuff's just flim flam. But I think this is where mentoring comes in. This is where experience comes in. Because if you walk in and the fee is, if the fee is the first sort of conversational piece, that there's an issue.
Yeah.
And I think if you walk in and do the things I mentioned before, talking about other stuff, going from literally a cold introduction to getting closer and closer and closer to becoming, I'll say friend, but something more than what you are before. The nearer you get towards friendship with the person, the owner, of the property, the closer you're getting towards trust. And you talk about this a lot.
Love that, yeah.
Well, as soon as you got trust and some form of friendship, kinship, whatever you want to call it, the conversation about price, the conversation about fees, They're much, much easier to have. And sometimes you don't even have a conversation about fees. What I'll say with Lindsay that was wonderful is because she hasn't had previous in terms of fees, she didn't know at that point that the national average was 1 to 1.5%. So she didn't know any better. She thought 3% was just the fee because that's the number we put in her head. And it's not just a crazy number that we plucked. It's a number that we get every time we go in and value. But that's us, after 20 or 30 years, or 20 years of doing this.
Not 2 minutes. Literally,
exactly.
Felt like a world of doing.
So she didn't know. She didn't know about what you'd call 1% agency. So all the conversation you had was already immersed in 3% agency, which is, we don't get too granular about it, but creating a market rather than waiting for a market. All the other bits and pieces, not to mention getting it on a hit TV show, which, quite frankly, that's 5% agency, isn't it? But.
So she did it. She did this amazing thing. So she got it. She listed it. She got a massive fee and a deserved fee. And then we're fast forward. She's got it. She's got people that want to see it. She engages people in it, and she did something amazing, which I'll give to you because she told you first. She managed to.
What, yesterday?
Yeah,
she sold the property yesterday. She exchanged and completed simultaneously. Did I just say that? Simultaneously yesterday at 2:30. And I actually videoed, or got someone to video the phone. I saw her number coming up on my phone. I was in the office and I got one of the guys in the office to video me taking the call because it was either going to be really bad or really good, right? And I'll put it up on Instagram or something. But it was a really an amazing moment. I kind of wish you'd been there. I wish we'd have been on a three-way. Yeah. I've said on LinkedIn this morning, I think, and when she posted her success, and rightfully so, I think it really is. There's so much more to this story, so much more. But it really, I think, is one of the great real estate stories I've ever been involved with. It's
one of the best, and that's why we're going to blast it out across everywhere. We're sending it out across the UK and across the States. To show them that, Lindsay sells castles.
Lindsay sells castles. And I love that. It's not all the big local sort of big national agents sell the castles or sell the big houses or this is someone who's fresh in the industry, who took a chance on themselves, believed in us, and went from absolutely nothing to taking on and selling a £3 million castle at 3%. Yeah. It's utterly astonishing, quite frankly.
It's quite interesting, incredibly interesting when you look at it, because when you look at what's happened, so, Lindsay took something from, she wasn't in real estate, fast forward, she sold, right? And there's all this stuff in the middle. The stuff in the middle, this is what I used to talk about years ago when I used to say you need a pitch, you need a script. You need to have your start, your middle, and your end, and you need to stick with this start, middle, and end. This is your script, okay? And we can empower you by giving you tools to make the script better. We can empower you by giving you tools to make the script sharper, but we can't deliver the script. That's your job.
That's the 80%. Yeah. I think what we're saying here is personality gets you a long way. It gets you likability, it gets you the trust, It gets you all of that stuff. And I think that's carried me for many years. Yeah. You've definitely got it. Otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here now.
Thank you.
But you've got to couple that with, knowing what you're going to be talking about in terms of, because there's no point in being a really nice guy and walking out with 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what made Lindsay, she's the nicest person I've ever met in my life. So what made Lindsay walk out with 3%? It's a script. It's listening to what we say. Yep. We're not going to go into the actual detail of what it is because that's what we do on the Academy, and that's not for this podcast. But I think what we're saying here is that if you can have an idea, there's a business side to it. There's what we do, what the brand can do. There's the creating the market. There's the script. There's the knowledge side of it. And the personality side of it, side by side, and it's a sort of heady kind of mixture.
I think you've nailed it.
And you're really good at drawing that out of people.
Yeah, but I think that is the real estate dream. You know, that's the goal we all want to get to. This is how you rise above everyone else, regardless of if you're in Durham or, you know, London or Cornwall, or wherever you want to be, New York, LA, Portugal. It's all the same. And it's all about the one thing that you talk about a lot, I talk about a lot, and we install it in everybody. It's the ability just to talk. You've got to learn to talk. 99% of this job is doing, and that doing is speaking. And you need to know how to do that.
Yeah.
The rest of it, we can teach you, you can learn, you can pick up.
And actually, it's interesting. We touched on we spoke about on the last podcast about all the talking that we did in our initial careers, and when we were just gadding about, you know, me at the academy, just picking up the phone to strangers, you doing door to door, you know, that's how we got to that point. And I think, you know, when I talk to sort of some of the youngsters that come through now and want to do it, one of the first things I do say to them is not so much, what do you know about real estate? What do you know about nest seekers or me or Dan or whatever? It's like, do you like talking? You know, it's really interesting. That, yeah. Like, what? Do you like talking? I do. Great. Well, then the rest will follow. Because we're going to teach you the rest.
I'll never forget one of the times we'd met Eddie for the first time. We were sitting in a restaurant having something to eat. And one of the bartenders, a young girl, came over to us.
Oh, the Spanish place. Yeah,
can you remember what the first thing he turned on? We'd just taken the order. And we'd finished taking the order, and then Eddie turned and looked to the waitress.
Eddie was amazing, because we were there was loads going. It was a really busy lunchtime in New York, and there were waiters and waitresses coming and going. So we're in this crazy busy, you know, Manhattan eatery, noise everywhere. You, me, and Eddie, we're probably a little bit worse for wear. Eddie's like banging sort of work mode, and he's scoping. And there are waiters and waitresses.
Scoping.
And actually, funny enough, this is one of the things I really learned from what he's about to say. And I love the words, but you know, we both now do that. If we go and have a drink together, or if we go, you know, wherever, you know, in a car, looking at cars down where Park Lane, we'll always do this, right? Yeah. Who can we talk to in this way? So there's waiters and waitresses coming and going, and Eddie just sits there and goes, "Have you ever considered a career in real estate?" Just to a waitress, because she was the best waitress. It was really interesting. There were guys which were going like that, and others, but she was engaging. She was, you know, she had something about her. She talked to us. And Eddie, who's a real estate titan, picked up on it. He saw someone who potentially could walk into someone's house like Lindsay and go, "Hi, I'm from Nest Seekers. This is what we're going to do to blah, 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 blah."
So it just shows what we need, or what we need to find, or what should be looking for people that should be looking for us, should be people that are personality driven. They're looking to find us. They're looking to come and become brokers and allow us to show them how we did it. And then they don't copy it. They've got the chat, and they do it in their own way. You know, we come along, we say hi, we open the doors to a journey that they can go on, but it has to be their own journey. Look, they're the star of the show. They have to remain the star of the show. We just want to make sure we're in the wings and that they don't fall over. And that is another episode of Sofa Broker. And follow us everywhere that you should be following: Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. And we will see you next time talking more stuff that won't be bullshit. It'll be straight how to make money in real estate.